Yes, I'm back. The year is 2024. We have another year of License to Live, the podcast, to get through. We have to move all the way through interviewing new guests, giving you fresh insight. And what kind of podcast host would I be if I didn't mention Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Welcome to episode 179 of License to Live. My name is Dr. Jarrett Patton, and I am your host together for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Just go to Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, and hit subscribe. And while you're there, please rate this episode and every episode so I make sure that I'm giving you exactly what you need with the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And today, it's all about that brand. And we're going to talk about this brand stacking that is going on out there. And I want to give you a real-world example of what it looks like to parlay your own brand and use it under the brand of someone or something else. There's nothing wrong with doing that, because if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a speaker, if you're an expert, you need to be out there getting yourself known for the things that you're known for. And how else do you do that? By branding. So I am going to talk about brand stacking and how you can elevate your brand right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, License to Live, daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. License to Live, daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Hey guys, this is Janae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarrett on License to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey, let's go.
And don't forget to go to licensedtolive.com where you can get your License to Live book bundle. It gives you a discount on both books, both License to Live Daily Affirmations to Rebuild Your Life and License to Live How to Rebuild Your Life After Your Career is Shattered. And you get both of them autographed from me, licensedtolive.com. I sit back and think about my pediatric days, and there came a time when the media relations people approached me and said, "Hey, Jarrett, would you like to take a media training? We think you'd be great in front of the camera. We think you would deliver a message about health and wellness, about all of our pediatric patients. Would you be up for taking something like that?" And to me, hey, that is a low-hanging fruit type of deal. That is something that's like, all right, I don't have to pay anything. You're paying me for my time to be there. Why not jump on this opportunity? And just of note, for all of you guys that may work in hospitals or health systems, look out for educational opportunities. They may not lead to a master's degree or an advanced degree or something official, but it could be tidbits of knowledge that you pick up along the way that you can carry with you to further deepen your own skill sets. So when I get into this media training, and at that time, I maybe just became general pediatrics division chief. I was still the medical director of a large clinic, and I was doing clinical work and administrative work. So to me, it made sense. So I went into this training. It was a full day and a half, and they spent a lot of time talking about branding and the brand of the hospital and the messaging of the hospital and all of the things that you'll be representing when you get out there and speak to the media about the hospital. And actually it gave me a perspective that was fantastic as an initial media training. And I was able to learn the types of things that journalists may do. What things to expect when you get in front of the camera, what things to try to say, and, basically how to act. Now, they didn't get into details as I've taken media training again and again, as I've been building my business here. And they really didn't talk about the things that are talked about in those types of trainings. And in fact, if you would learn from me, some of the things that I talk about is your energy. I talk about edutainment. I talk about all of the things that make you a more marketable media resource. But besides all of that, I can tell you that after I took this training, hey, they put me out in front of the camera, and I probably cannot find some of my earlier media interviews. I don't even think they're up anymore, but I didn't have on the right kind of outfit. I was wearing my outdoor coat inside. I mean, these interviews to me were a hot mess. I mean, hey, to maybe others and people watching, and people gave me feedback when they saw it. They said, "Hey, I saw you on TV, Dr. Jarrett. It was a great interview. Maybe you should think about TV." But no, they weren't very good interviews. I mean, I was maybe slow speaking or fumbling under my words, but doing the things that many rookies do. And it was at this time I really learned about branding and messaging and how organizations protect their brand. And that was probably the most important messaging that I took away from that later. Now, of course, with more practice and more media, and you guys have seen some of my recent media interviews, they're way different than they were, 8-10 years ago. But that goes along with progress and development. But the thing you need to know about branding is that organizations are very protective of their brand. Let's face it, they have spent millions and billions of dollars building up their brand, building up their reputation, and they don't want some foolish, camera happy guy to come ruin that in all in one place. And this is something for all of you guys to think about, particularly if you're working in hospitals or you're working in an organization now, or you're working even in some other industry. A lot of times you are working under that brand. So, hey, you can get media interviews. You can get all types of great things because you are working for this big, well-established brand. But what happens when that brand goes away? What happens when that brand falls off? You may be left with nothing if you are not looking out for your own personal brand. And that way you get left behind. Nobody's worried about you. Nobody knows who you are because now you don't have the shield of the institution you work for anymore. And so your brand, your personal brand, may be virtually worthless, or it may be worthless. You may not even have one because it just hasn't had the attention of the big brand that you work for. But there is nothing wrong with building your brand when you are underneath a bigger brand. That's how you get your name out there. That's how you get some things. And if you are building something yourself, go ahead and do it. Now, of course, you're going to have to look at all the legalese and your intellectual property things. And so before you get happy and start doing stuff and that Dr. Jarrett, hey, they took my idea because I'm working for, yeah, that's what they do with all of these contracts. So you got to look at your intellectual property. You have to look at, the radius in which you're allowed to work and restrictive covenants and all these types of things that go on. Yes, you have to look at that. But if all of that stuff is aside and you don't have to worry about it, then you can take some steps to build your own brand. So first, like we already talked about, get some training, develop some additional skills that are going to serve you as you move forward. Number 1. 2, collect assets as you go. So that time you're delivering a grand rounds, you're just delivering a grand rounds, or you're giving a presentation in front of the board, or you're doing one of these things that you typically do in the day-to-day happenings of your own job. And guess what happens then? You are delivering this great presentation and everybody in the room saw it, but nobody else. So take a moment to take a selfie. Ask one of your friends, hey, can you take a picture of me up on the podium? Because your speaking career oftentimes starts in your regular career because you're up in front of people. You have to present, you have to talk, you have to do all of these things. So take a few, should we call them marketing assets along the way. You'll be better served later when you have pictures of you in front of the podium, have pictures of you away speaking at conferences. Do not underestimate the power of your branding, even though you may have been speaking on behalf of someone else. Maybe you were speaking on behalf of another corporation, but get the assets. Worry about what you do with them later. Trust me. I think of all the times I was on stage before I started my own company. This is before I started my own company. And people, I'd be on stage all the time. I'd be in conferences speaking. I'd be, in the hospital speaking. I'd be in the community speaking. And I can't find a single picture of any of these dozens of times I was there. So what did I have to do when I realized I might need these pictures to promote my own speaking career and build my own brand? Well, I had to start getting those assets from that point forward. So I lost out on 10, 15 years of building up my own brand. So as you're doing things in the course of your normal day and you're building up your brand, make sure you are getting some of that social proof. You make sure you're getting some of these things that people will look for as you build your own brand. I've been having a number of conversations with a few of my clients now about their brand. Some of them have already written and published a book. Some of them are on that journey. Some of them are doing some other things that are very interesting. But they all need to build up their brand to some standpoint. And we've been having these conversations. And people often don't hear me the first time or two I say this. Say, anytime you're leaving, anytime you're hitting the road, think about what these opportunities can do for your own brand. And everything's fine and dandy when you're working under that big shield of that big, Fortune 100 company, doing your thing. And yeah, that is great until it all goes away. So I'm going to talk about some brand stacking. And brand stacking is really when you are trying to build your brand while you are working under another brand. And I will give you some famous examples of some brand stacking that is happening. And we're going to do that right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarrett's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarrett.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
Hey, anytime you want to reach out to me, just reach out to me. Set up an appointment. I love having strategy sessions, whether you become my client or not. That we usually handle a lot of breakthroughs, and sometimes those sessions carry people forward and even get them unstuck. And they're absolutely free. So why not reach out? Make a strategy session with me right now. Time with drjarrett.com. Yes. We can talk about some brand stacking, and I've talked about this before. I maybe had a couple of Jay-Z episodes, but talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, how they came together and then they formed something even greater than what they had individually, which is great. But I'm going to use a modern day example, not that they're not modern day because they're still doing big things. Sorry about that, Jigga. But let me tell you, you guys know, many of you fire starters out there know, it's no secret that I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I get out to games. I get to participate in some of the Steelers activities sometimes. And it's a lot of fun. It's something I like to do with my spare time when I have spare time. And the NFL became enamored, and really the public at large became enamored about this love story between Travis Kelce, who is a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, and a well-known Grammy Award-winning and probably lots of other award-winning singer from this area in Pennsylvania by the name of Taylor Swift. So before I get to talking about this, I know a lot of you guys have seen, Travis showing up on his off days, maybe to one of her concerts. But what you probably have seen more of is Taylor showing up at some of these NFL events to see her man play. Now, Taylor has an extremely large and profitable brand. She may still be on the Eras tour, or she just finished it up, made millions and millions, or maybe even $1 billion, singing her heart out, performing for her fans, city after city after city after city. This woman has a huge brand, and it's all about her. But even she found an opportunity to build her brand under another brand. And there's a couple of brands she did this with. Well, the NFL, because now all of a sudden, Taylor Swift, who was irrelevant to any football discussion last season or even 6 months ago, people are talking about her. They're showing her in the stands. Her fans are showing up at NFL games with hopes to catch a glimpse of her. And one of the most recent episodes many of you saw was Jason Kelce, who is a center for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Travis's brother. Well, his season was prematurely ended when the Eagles lost, and now he has nothing but free time. So he shows up at his brother's game. Well, he shows up in sweatpants and shirtless after tailgating and chugging beers, and he was just having a blast. But he got to see what's happening and hanging with Taylor, because that's who everybody wanted to see. They didn't want to see anybody else. They didn't care about Travis's mom. They didn't care about anybody but Taylor. And what Taylor does, she comes in to the stadium wearing her Kansas City Chiefs gear. There you go. Another brand that's established. But she is attaching her brand to the Kansas City Chiefs brand. And quite frankly, the Kansas City Chiefs brand is attaching to her the best they can because, well, unlike many of us where we don't have a recognizable brand, Taylor has a huge brand already. So why wouldn't the Kansas City Chiefs want to kind of stack their brand with her brand? And the NFL stacking Taylor's brand with her brand and realizing that all the Swifties are going to start watching games and tuning in. And even if it's just to see Travis play. But you see how the power of brand stacking can work in real life. So people always thought about me, hey, when you talk about that brand stacking stuff, Dr. J, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Nobody really does that. Nobody really takes that strategy. It happens time after time after time. And if you know nothing about Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, the NFL, it will be easy for you to put any one of those search terms, NFL, Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs, Taylor Swift, any of those search terms, and you will find pictures of all of the stuff going on. And so what happens? Taylor becomes relevant in the NFL, and that is an audience where she hasn't been very relevant, and it built her brand. Well, what does the NFL do and the Kansas City Chiefs do? Hey, she's wearing our team logo. She's wearing our team colors. We love her too. And so everybody's showing her, whether it's a sports news program, whether it's an entertainment news program, whether it's just the news. This incidence of brand stacking became huge. And I know everybody's talking about them and they're finding ways to work them into their shows. And I'm not going to be any different, but this is a true case of brand stacking on an extreme level. And so I want you to break all of that down as you guys are trying to figure out what you want to do next with your career and your brand. And it all starts with just writing some of the stuff out on your CV. It all starts with thinking about some of the honors, the awards you've achieved. It all starts with some of the basics of your life that you can start to roll up into something bigger. And if you have to attach to something bigger along the way to help build it, this is a tried and true strategy that will continue to work for you. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, disengaged, dissatisfied, disgruntled, disenfranchised with their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe to License to Live. While you're there, give me some feedback. Let me know what's going on. And if there are some topics you want to hear about, hey, reach out to me in between episodes on social media. You can find me anywhere at Dr. Jarrett. Spell out the word doctor, J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And I will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.